All right, here we go. We're getting 10 pull-ups today, no questions. Let's go. 1, 2, 3. Man. If this looks like you during pull-up day, then stay tuned, because I got 4 tips to help you get better with pull-ups. All right, tip number 1. We're gonna do some assisted pull-ups using a 41-inch band. So to do this, grab your 41-inch band, loop it right around the bar with a cow hitch knot, and it's very simple. So as we stretch this band, it is going to put out more and more resistance, pulling it up towards the top of where it's anchored, right? So we're gonna actually subtract some body weight off using the band. And we can do this by stretching it down, looping it around our knee. That will give us a little bit of assistance. This is probably my preferred way. It's more comfortable. Just grab the bar, and now you're in it, and you're doing pull-ups, and you're gonna notice you'll get a lot of assistance kind of out of the bottom because the band is stretched the furthest. And then as you go up, that assistance is going to drop off, and you're gonna have less and less assistance. So it really simulates kind of a natural pull-up. And now if you need to do more assistance, you can always stretch this band further, because the further you stretch the band, the more force it puts out. Put it on the bottom of your foot. And now you're just gonna have to be able to keep this foot stable, because the band is gonna wanna like pull it out in front of you and stuff like that. I usually just kind of cross my legs and go. And now I have more assistance because the band is stretched further. And of course you can use larger or smaller bands to give you more or less assistance. And typically that's what I like to do. I'll do like 3 to 4 sets of pull-ups and start out with a strong band so I can get warmed up, get more reps, and then I'll go to a weaker band for set 2 and a weaker band for set 3. And then eventually you try to phase yourself out where your top set, you're using no band at all and doing natural pull-ups. But this will help you to progress. And why do I like bands versus like the pull-up machine at the gym? Well, first off, bands are simple. You can do this anywhere you have a pull-up bar. You don't need a machine. Second off is with a band, you're still hanging off of this pull-up bar, and you still got to use your core muscles, all those stabilizer muscles to get into position, and it more naturally and accurately simulates a pull-up versus the machine where your knees are usually on some kind of a bench, so you have a little bit more stability, which that can be beneficial, but I prefer using the bands. All right, tip number 2. We can kind of break the pull-up down into its various components and stages, and we can train each one of those stages to help give you that strength to do a full pull-up. And what do I mean by that? We'll start out with a dead hang. So when you're on this pull-up bar, where you start is this hanging position. So that's putting a lot of stress on your forearms, biceps, shoulders, and it just hurts to hang like this, you know what I mean? So you can train that. You can basically do this dead hang hold, and you can try to hold this, 30, 60, 90 seconds, and that's gonna help you build up strength to be able to crank out reps on pull-ups. So I would recommend a few sets of, like I said, 30 to 90 seconds to do the dead hangs. Component would be scapular retractions. So when we're hanging here, the first thing that you're gonna do is retract those scapulas and start to pull, basically that pulling motion where you're rolling those scapulas back and starting to tuck those elbows a little bit. You can train that portion as well. So before we were dead hanging, and now we're gonna do some scapular retractions. 1, 2, and you can hold that and dead hang that as well. And that's gonna start training the portion of your back that's getting you started in the range of motion of the pull-up. Next up, we're gonna do another isometric exercise. We're gonna do some concentration holds at the top. So this is another exercise that's going to get you used to holding your body weight up with your arms, with your backs, with your biceps. And if you need to help to get up into that position, you can use a box like I'm gonna do here. Basically lift myself up and then get right up over this bar and breathe and hold this baby as long as you can hold it. 30, 60, maybe even 90 seconds. And then let yourself down. And that is gonna be a heck of a lot more difficult than the dead hangs, but I highly recommend training those concentration holds at the top because that will build that isometric strength, like I said. All right, last component for tip number 2, we are gonna focus on the eccentric portion of the lip, or the negative, or letting yourself down, whatever you wanna call it. That is where we're gonna train. And typically, you are always going to be stronger in the eccentric than the concentric phase. So this one you should be able to train right away. And obviously I'm gonna use a box to help me get up to the top. So I'm starting high, and then I'm just gonna let myself down. Really slow, exhaling. There's one, use the box to help me get back up, and fight it. The slower that you can let yourself down, the better off you're gonna be in this exercise, and just fight that tension all the way through. Do a few sets of like 8 to 15 reps of those eccentrics, and that is going to help you out tremendously. All right, tip number 3 is very simple. Incorporate more back strengthening exercises. Very simple. And honestly, that is going to work extremely well because you're going to be able to target all of these different muscles in your back so that you're not always having to do just pull-ups. And I'm talking things like pull downs, whether they're seated or kneeling, or rows, whether you're doing a chest supported row, seated rows, bent over rows, those all work really well. Deadlifts, also great. Even bicep exercises, because obviously biceps are part of the pulling muscle groups. So training all of those things frequently and building strength in them, getting stronger every single week is what is going to help you build that strength to overcome your body weight and master the pull-up. And finally, for tip number 4, you actually have to put in the reps to see results. Just doing this once in a while, or even just once a week for a couple exercises is not going to cut it. I recommend programming at least a couple days a week of pull day or back training. One day a week you can do some pull-ups and some of the work that we showed with all the different components and the assisted pull-up bands and things like that. And then another day you could do just like a pull day or a back day where you're incorporating all sorts of back and biceps exercises. And that alone should give you a lot faster improvement and progress, but it's still up to you to make sure that you are beating yourself every single week from the prior week. You need to be increasing the weights. You need to be increasing the number of reps that you're doing. You need to be decreasing how much assistance you're using, because that is how you get stronger and that is how you're going to progress. So there you go. Use this information to get better with pull-ups. Give me a high five in the comments if you are actually gonna do this, or if you're already doing this, let me know what you're doing. Furthermore, if you liked what you saw today, be sure to smash that like button. Also, if you want more content like this, we have tons of content just like this on this channel. I'm gonna link a couple of the most recommended videos right here. Click on those on-screen video links. Furthermore, if you need any of the resistance bands or accessories shown today, head over to clenchfitness.com. We will hook you up, and thank you so much for watching.